Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this Firefly Fun House episode 8 Things You Might Have Missed video. These are super popular videos and I am really grateful to everyone that watches these, enjoys these, shows support to these. So every like, every share, every comment makes a massive difference. So thank you all very much for that. But moving on to the video, there was loads in this that we need to talk about. I probably do have more questions than answers following this episode. I don't think it really answered anything massive. I think it did achieve something though. And I think that was character development. We kind of saw another side of Bray Wyatt that we haven't really seen yet. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk as well about a poem that was referenced, Dante's Inferno. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to talk about Phoebe. This comes courtesy of C Wrestling that noticed something that it's a theory that I really like. So we're going to talk about Phoebe. As well as that, we're going to talk about the references, AEW references, maybe a Bludgeon Brothers reference as well. So we're going to touch on those. And then we're going to talk about what Ramblin Rabbit said when he was talking about he wanted to expose what was really going on in the Firefly Fun House. So we've got all of that and we've got loads of other stuff as well. So this is an action-packed video, just like this was an action-packed episode. So let's start, shall we, with the poem. Let's start with what we first saw during this episode, which is this. You can see Bray Wyatt putting up that sign. The sign says, "Abandon all hope, ye who exit here." Now that is a reference taken from Dante's Inferno. This was a poem. This poem is the Divine Comedy, and it is literally all about Dante going through hell, going through the several stages of hell. He's being led by someone called Virgil, that's his guide, who is guiding him through hell. They go through limbo, they go through purgatory, I believe they get to heaven as well. And honestly, there could be even more references to this in previous episodes that we just haven't picked up on. Because that line on the door, "Abandon all hope, ye who exit here," as we said, is actually what is written on the gates of hell in Dante's Inferno. A slight tweak. The gates of hell says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." Whereas on the Funhouse sign, it said, "Abandon all hope, ye who exit here." So is Bray saying that the Funhouse is hell? Is he saying that that's his personal hell? Is he saying that hell is on the other side of the door? Maybe the other side of the door says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which would mean the Funhouse was hell. I don't know, but I did find it very interesting that was connected to a poem all about hell, all about limbo, all about heaven, and that has been a very strong theme all throughout the Firefly Fun House. Let's move on, shall we, to Phoebe. This comes courtesy of C Wrestling, who pointed this out on Twitter, shared his theory with me, and that is, if you look at the sign again and see all of the letters that are outlined, then you will see the word Phoebe. It's 6 letters. The only 6-letter word that you can make is Phoebe. Who is Phoebe? Why is her name like outlined on that sign? Could be a coincidence, of course. This is just a theory. You know, we could maybe go a step further and say Phoebe might be Dr. Mercy, who we believe is treating Bray Wyatt, who apparently has become obsessed with Bray Wyatt. Maybe Phoebe is another character that lives within the mind of Bray Wyatt. I'm still firmly of the opinion all of this is going on in Bray Wyatt's mind. But who is Phoebe? I really do like that theory that those letters were outlined for a reason. Next up, before we forget as well, we've spoken about this before, but Bray Wyatt has been bringing in foreign terms, foreign language. We get it again here. He says at the start, konnichiwa. This is Japanese. It's an informal greeting. I believe we've had Spanish before, and we've had, I'm sure he said bonjour in a previous episode as well. Well, now we've got Japanese coming in. One of the deleted tweets on Bray Wyatt's account at the end of 2018 said that the patient was spewing threats towards staff in multiple foreign languages. Just, again, a point of interest that we've now had another term, another foreign language being introduced into the Firefly Fun House. It was around this time he could hear a commotion as well, so he went over to Ramblin Rabbit and Mercy the Buzzard. Mercy was threatening to eat Ramblin Rabbit again, and this is when Bray threatened to get the Fiend, and they did not want that. They were visibly shaken, they were scared, they were intimidated. It's a really interesting relationship that's going on inside the Firefly Fun House. I honestly didn't know, I don't think any of us knew, that the characters feared the Fiend. You know, he said before that the Fiend is there to protect us, and that we didn't have anything to worry about. Well, Ramblin Rabbit and Mercy the Buzzard didn't seem protected. They seemed very concerned. So that's a very interesting development. As well as that, he said that it would be down to fate. Fate would decide what would happen. And that's when he went back to his gloves of hurt and heal. And he was listening to those voices again. Whose voices are they? Is that the voice of the Fiend? But then why would the Fiend be talking about hurting the characters and healing the characters at the same time? It kind of implies there's maybe other voices. Have you got the Fiend for hurt and something else for heal? I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. What I do know is that they allowed Ramblin Rabbit the opportunity to talk, and this is where people started to get very strong AEW references, because people started to think that this was like Jon Moxley talking on the podcast. I did think it was very interesting that they had Ramblin Rabbit talking on top of another TV. Why was it another TV? Is it something to do with him airing his grievances on TV? Or, I don't know, I couldn't quite call it. Why was it a TV? Why was it not a table? Why was it not some flowers? Why was it another TV? Why was there a second TV in the middle of the Firefly Fun House? So, a lot of people are saying this is AEW and superstars airing their grievances against WWE, maybe on TV. And that's why when we saw Bray again, he had the lines down his eyes, just like the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, who, of course, also left WWE to go to AEW, just like Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho had that podcast that obviously made great waves in the wrestling world. So a lot of people feeling a lot of references to that. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. I'm also not going to say that it was. I don't know when this was recorded, is the truth. This could have been recorded, you know, weeks ago before the podcast even happened, before AEW even showed that they had Jon Moxley. So it's hard to know when it was recorded. It's hard to know what it's actually referencing, but I totally get why people were getting AEW references, and could be. So next, this for me is where it got really weird. Really weird. Because we saw the mallet, and I didn't know if that was a reference to the Bludgeon Brothers. The reason why it could be is because the Bludgeon Brothers are Harper and Rowan. They, of course, were the Wyatt family. That was the Wyatt family. Harper, Rowan, Bray Wyatt. I mean, yeah, okay, you had Braun Strowman in there for a short time, but for a majority of the time, it was Harper, Rowan, and Bray. So I didn't know if the mallet was some kind of a reference to that. But the reason why I say this was very weird was because we kind of saw a new character here. This wasn't the Fiend, but it wasn't Bray, happy Firefly Fun House character either. This was something in the middle, and I think that's important. This could be what the Fiend looks like on a regular basis. So maybe Bray comes down to the ring, but when they want to just have a little bit of the Fiend in matches, this is what Bray can transform into, and can transform very quickly. It's 2 lines, a fake nose, hurt and heel gloves, mallet, done. Like, you can have all of that under the ring, so you could very quickly transform into this kind of midway Fiend. It's not the Fiend because it's not the mask and it's not the get up and all of that kind of stuff. But equally, it wasn't Bray. And after he had finished bashing Ramblin Rabbit, he bashed Ramblin Rabbit 3 times, and then all of a sudden, the Bray that we know that was very loving, concerning, friendly, he was like, "Oh, Ramblin Rabbit, are you okay?" And actually asked Ramblin Rabbit if he was okay, literally seconds after smashing him with a mallet 3 times. Couple of things happened here that I really couldn't get my head around. First of all, when Bray is standing with the mallet, you can see the ceiling of the production studio. You can see very visibly, and they will have signed this off. They will know what they're doing. So I don't think this is a mistake. But you can clearly see that the Firefly Fun House is not a complete room. You can see where the walls end. You can see what the ceiling looks like. You can even see like a green screen in the distance. So they showed you this was a production studio. They kind of broke the wall, if you will. And I don't know why. I don't know if that was a little subliminal message, maybe about how Moxley destroyed the 4th wall when he was talking about all the stuff that, you know, they were asking him to do behind the scenes, or I couldn't get my head around why. I'm still struggling as to why they gave us that angle and that shot. They didn't need to do it. You're right. I mean, like, I don't know. It's kind of making it out like we're Ramblin Rabbit. Kind of makes that out. Is Ramblin Rabbit the internet? Is Ramblin Rabbit the internet? The other thing I couldn't tell was, why was this next to Ramblin Rabbit before he had even been hit once? It was there. Now, that looks like what comes out of Ramblin Rabbit, that like jam gloop breakfast spread stuff. It looks like that. Now, it could be a mistake. It could be that they did a couple of takes and they didn't properly clean the floor. I wouldn't like to think that's what's happened. I prefer to think that that is a hint that this has happened before. And actually, didn't you think it was interesting that Bray already had a jar of it, and it was already a full jar of the stuff that's inside Ramblin Rabbit? You know, could it be that Ramblin Rabbit has been attacked and had that kind of breakfast spread gloop extracted from him many times before? Is this like a never-ending circle of events that they're just playing through again and again and again? Either that, or they didn't clean the floor when they did rehearsal. And that's it, guys. That's all the theories and things that I could find for this episode. I'm sure you'll agree there's plenty there. Who is Phoebe? Is there more references in that poem, Dante's Inferno, which is part of a bigger poem. I can tell you that the bigger poem, I believe, has got about 14,000 lines. So that's why I didn't go through the whole poem to try and see what other references there were. But who knows? If I get a spare day, then I might do that. Yeah, of course, you know, there was that kind of new character, that in the middle character, which I think is quite interesting. No, Abby as well. I thought that was interesting. Again, she wasn't at the window, and she didn't make any appearance this week, so don't know. I don't know why. Is there something in that? This is what I'm saying. I feel like this episode gave us more questions than answers. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.